Dear Wendy, would you be opposed to mentoring a 24-year-old woman? I am not opposed to a 24-year-old woman having an internship here and learning by example. But mentoring, no, I don't have that kind of time in my life anymore. I used to do that kind of stuff. Then all of a sudden, this kid popped out of me from nowhere. This man threw this thing on my finger and told me to make some promises, and next thing you know, I don't have time. But I mentor the interns. I guess I mentor you all, right? Just through example. I don't have time to actually sit down. Every once in a while, like Regina and I were using the bathroom together. And Regina's about to start her own radio program at her college. And so she ran past me what she was going to call the radio show. Regina, what were you going to call that radio show? No, that wasn't you. This is no Regina, different intern. It's the other intern, Adrian. So I, if they have a question or something like that. But no, I don't have time anymore. I'm sorry. Oh, God. All right, let's get into Advice Hour with the telephones. Hello.
Hi, Wendy. How are you? I'm fine. I have a question for you. How do you tell somebody that you don't want to be with them, or you don't love them, and you want a divorce?
Okay. Being that something is not working correctly. If you don't want them, you don't want to be with them, and you want a divorce, tell them. Now, because this show is what it is, I tell you that we record our phone calls. And so therefore, I know the rest of the woman's conversation. Apparently, my end of the phone call was not working correctly, so we had to cut off the phone play machine. But she's been married for a little less than a year. Next month, as a matter of fact, June will be a year. They have no children, and she wants a divorce from her husband. He has not worked since they've been married, and she doesn't have a lot of money. And she asked about divorce online. I told her, I don't know anything about that. I'd almost be scared to do it, just because when you want a divorce, that's something that you want finalized. You don't want to, learn 10 years from now that you've never been divorced. So I advise her to go to a lawyer's office. And being that they've only been married for a year, it shouldn't cost a whole hell of a lot of money. He's going to ask for spousal support. I told her, if he does, then you're going to have to, give him a bit of your weekly or biweekly pay. But whatever money you have in the bank, I don't care if it's $1,000, $100, or $500,000, slowly remove it from the bank and stash it, and then don't give it to your parents like to hold on to. Stash it someplace where it can't be seen. Open a safe deposit box or something crazy like that. Although there's a paper trail to that. Just so you don't have to split what's in the bank. Of course, if you have money like Puffy, there'd be different rules for that. Don't pull your money out of the bank. But, she said she has a couple of bucks. So take as much as she can out of the bank and hold off on that announcement, I told her, until her job is done. And then there's 30 days of clearance after that, so it doesn't look all obvious. Somewhere around their anniversary date, June, might be the time to spring it on him. In the meantime, starting today, she needs to go to the bank. In my opinion. That's all. Based on what I did. And it worked. And I got my divorce for $750. It took about a year to happen, but it happened. Well, because he was fighting it. He was fighting it. Can you believe that? How are you going to fight a 5-month marriage? How are you going to fight a 5... Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Okay. Dear Wendy, my name is Denise, and I'm a 15-year-old girl. For the past 2.5 years, I've been getting raped by my uncle. He's 18, and 2.5 years ago, my mom had my little brother and my mom... Wait, turn off the music, which is what I was trying to motion to you. Thank you. He's 18 years old, and 2.5 years ago, my mom had my little brother and my uncle would watch my little brother while my mom worked, which she did from 10 in the morning till 6 at night. Him and I were always close because of our closeness in age, and one day, when I got home from school, he asked me to chill in the living room with him until my mom got home. So we were watching TV for about an hour, and all of a sudden, he just attacked me and started pulling my pants. I was telling him to stop. He told me that if I told anyone about what he was doing, that they wouldn't believe me. And if they did, he would kill everyone who I told. I was terrified, so he raped me for what seemed like hours, but it only took 3 minutes. I was a virgin. He took my virginity, and that saddens me constantly. Now, 2.5 years later, I find that I'm pregnant. I haven't had sex with anyone but him, and I'm so scared. All right, apparently after this first time, it's been going on repeatedly. Miss Wendy, I don't know what to do or who to go to. I can't tell him because he'll probably try to kill me. Please, Miss Wendy, tell me what to do. I need your help. I'm 3 months, and I don't want to keep the baby. There's no name. There's no telephone number. But there's a mother, and that's the good news. Young lady, Denise, tell your mother, this boy's not going to kill anybody because your mother and you are going to go to the cops immediately after you tell. I'm talking about before she even confronts this boy. You know what I mean? I would imagine this is your mother's brother or sister's son. Okay. Because your mother will handle who to tell after that. Everybody's going to get told. And there will be no killing going on. Hopefully. Don't be scared of that. Because your mother's going to go to the cops. She's 15 now. He took her virginity 2.5 years ago. Jeez. Now she's 3 months pregnant. And no, this would not be a good look as far as having the baby. So your mother will help you with that also. And fortunately, you're 3 months and she'll take you immediately to your gynecologist and you know, I'm not going to lie to you and say it's going to be all right because long after everything is out in the open and taken care of, so to speak, you're going to have to deal with these wounds for the rest of your life. So hopefully your mom will have the good sense to put you in some sort of therapy because you need it. And you'll continue to need it until you feel you don't need it anymore. And I would imagine that would be anywhere from 10 to 20 years from now. You know, something like this. It might be for the rest of your life, but you need somebody to talk to. Somebody to share your private thoughts, talk to, tell things that you wouldn't even tell your own mom. In terms of how you feel. So sorry to hear about this. This happens all the time. Tell your mother. She's not just the evil one. At the right time, a good mom knows how to be a good friend / mom too. So I wish you well, young lady. Dear Wendy, I know you're not into the whole big wedding ceremony thing, but I need your opinion on something. My father hasn't been in my life on a steady basis and has yet to see my daughter, who is now 17 months, and we live in the same city. At first, I wasn't going to invite him to the wedding, but I decided that I would, and I already have it in mind that he does not deserve the honor of walking me down the aisle. He feels that he should. I'm sure it's just his ego talking. I was going to ask one of my uncles to walk me down the aisle, but I thought that may be a little embarrassing for my father. Do you think that I should really take his feelings into consideration when it comes to this situation? And do you think I should have my uncle walk me down the aisle, walk by myself, or have my fiance meet me halfway down the aisle and we walk together? Oh, gosh. You're right. I'm not into this pomp and circumstance. Well, P.S. It would have been my mom walking me down the aisle, but she passed away last summer. Oh. You know what? I don't know why your father hasn't been in your life on a steady basis. And, you know, it's foul that he hasn't seen your 17-month-old. If you could do it all over again, I wouldn't have even invited him to the wedding because he's liable, to while out seeing somebody else walk you down the aisle, get a little liquor in him and talk sassy to your fiance. You think you could take a good care of her, boy? You know what the brown juice do. And you know how family members can be, the unreliable ones. I wouldn't have even invited him to the wedding. But you know what? Save your uncle getting jumped later on in the night and a big brawl happening at your wedding, because I already have it in my mind that your father will not be able to control himself. Why don't you have your fiance meet you halfway? That's it. I would not have my father. And you know what? And you be careful at that wedding, because something tells me your father is the one who would love to just jump up and start walking, knowing that you're not going to make a move in your big white dress on your wedding. Be careful where you sit your father in the pews. You know, when they usher the people in, have your father sitting where? Back there. Back there, and not an aisle seat. Have him sitting in the far right corner of the church, and you make sure that your biggest cousins are around. Don't let your father know that he's being watched, but he's being watched, because he sounds like the type who will jump up and start walking down the aisle with you. That's all. I wish you well with your big party wedding. Tara, good luck. Thank you. Advice Hour continues next.
It's Wendy, man.
I got slayed so well. Made me do things I don't even do to my husband.
Oh, my God.